On a freezing February night in rural New Hampshire, a young woman's car skidded off a dark mountain road. Within minutes, smoke was rising from the hood, the airbags were deployed, and the driver, 21-year-old Maura Murray, was standing beside it, shaken and alone. When police arrived just a short time later, she had vanished, leaving behind a locked car, scattered belongings, and a mystery that still haunts America 2 decades later. Tonight, we retrace her final known movements and uncover why the disappearance of Maura Murray remains one of the most chilling unsolved cases in modern history. Chapter 1: The Final Day. February 9th, 2004 began like any other day at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. Maura Murray, athletic, disciplined, and deeply loved by her family, was juggling clinical rotations and college stress. But beneath her calm exterior, something was building. Earlier that weekend, Maura had a sudden emotional breakdown while working her campus security job. She reportedly stared blankly at a screen for minutes, then burst into tears when her supervisor walked in. When asked what was wrong, she simply repeated, my sister," but later, her sister insisted she never said anything troubling that night. Whatever overwhelmed Maura during that shift was never explained. And it becomes even more haunting when we see what she did next. That Monday, Maura emailed her professors. She wrote there had been a death in the family and that she'd be gone for a week, but there had been no death. She'd lied for reasons no one understood. Then she packed up toiletries, textbooks, clothes, a favorite stuffed animal, and a bottle of alcohol. She withdrew $280 from an ATM, nearly everything she had, and she started driving north toward the White Mountains. No one knows why. Chapter 2: The Crash. The drive from Amherst to New Hampshire takes nearly 3 hours. During that time, Maura didn't call anyone. She didn't check in. She drove in near silence on some of the loneliest roads in the Northeast. At 7:27 p.m., a resident on Route 112, Butch Atwood, heard a loud thud outside his home. When he looked out, he saw a dark Saturn sedan lodged into a snowbank, its nose buried in thick white snow, the rear end sticking slightly into the roadway. The airbags had deployed, leaving a faint mist inside the car. A single figure, Maura, stood beside it. Atwood drove his bus over and asked if she needed help. Maura refused, saying, "No, I've already called AAA." But that wasn't possible. There was no cell service in that area. He noticed she seemed disoriented, perhaps intoxicated. She kept glancing up and down the road, nervous, almost scared, as if expecting someone or running from someone. When Atwood offered to call 911, Maura insisted he didn't, and she begged him to leave. Minutes later, less than 10 minutes, the first officer arrived, and Maura Murray was gone. Chapter 3: The Vanishing. The scene confused officers immediately. There were no footprints in the fresh snow leading into the woods. No drag marks, no blood, no signs of a struggle. Her car was locked. Inside were her printed map directions, clothes, textbooks, makeup, everything she had packed to bring with her. But her cell phone? Missing. Her wallet? Missing. Her keys? Missing. The temperature was below freezing. It was pitch dark. And yet she had disappeared with no trace, and in no time. Police and neighbors fanned out with flashlights, scanning ditches, woods, and open fields. Nothing. About 100 meters from the crash site, search dogs picked up a faint scent, but it suddenly dropped off, as if Maura had stepped into another vehicle. Did someone pick her up within minutes? Was someone already waiting on the road? Or did she flee the scene in panic, only to succumb to the cold? No one knew then. No one knows now. Chapter 4: The Investigation. The investigation grew rapidly, but so did confusion. Pushpin witness statements conflicted. One neighbor claimed he saw someone moving quickly near the trunk of Maura's car, possibly placing something inside. Pushpin, the crash report was unclear. Investigators weren't sure if the accident happened by speed, a slide, or something else entirely. Pushpin, the timing didn't add up. Only a few minutes passed between the neighbor leaving her and police arriving. How could someone vanish so completely in that short window? When police traced Maura's steps, they found she had emailed a UMass professor about an upcoming class. She had searched for New Hampshire vacation rentals. She had printed out MapQuest directions to various hiking areas. She had packed very few personal items, as though planning only a short trip. Friends and family were puzzled. Why lie about a death in the family? Why leave without telling anyone? Why head toward a remote mountain region alone? Every answer seemed to create a new question. Chapter 5: Digital Clues. As technology improved years later, investigators began uncovering new clues. Google search history. The last searches on Maura's computer were about lodging near the White Mountains, cheap places to stay, isolated spots, getaway cabins. Phone records. Her last phone call was to a condo owner about renting a small place in the area. Voicemail mystery. Maura had received a strange voicemail days before her disappearance. It was never explained, and the message was erased shortly after. Magnifying glass tilted right, no activity after the crash. Her bank account, cell phone, credit cards, all went completely silent after 7 p.m. Even with modern search methods, helicopters, drones, specially trained cadaver dogs, ground-penetrating radar, nothing new has been found. Not a piece of clothing, not a bone, not a single confirmed trace. It is as if Maura stepped off the road and dissolved into the night. Chapter 6: Theories. In a case this mysterious, theories multiply. Theory 1. She disappeared intentionally. Some believe she wanted a temporary break from the pressure of school, work, and personal challenges. But if that's true, why withdraw only $280? Why leave nearly everything in the car? And how could she survive without using a single card or phone record afterwards? Theory 2. She was abducted. Supporters point to the sudden loss of her scent trail. If she entered someone's car voluntarily or by force, it would explain the abrupt disappearance. But who? And why has no one ever come forward, even anonymously? Theory 3. She wandered into the woods. Could she have panicked after the crash and fled into the forest? Search teams combed the area extensively. No trace, not even a shoe or a scrap of clothing. It would be one of the most unlikely search failures in modern U.S. history. To this day, not a single piece of conclusive evidence has emerged. Maura Murray's disappearance remains one of the most perplexing cold cases in America, defying logic, explanation, and closure. What do you think happened that night on Route 112? Was Maura running from something or running toward something? Did she fall victim to danger or slip away into a new life? Drop your theories in the comments below. And join me in the next episode as we uncover another true crime story that refuses to be forgotten.